Welcome to the Life After Life podcast, where we explore our soul's physical and non-physical journey. I'm Majona. Let's discuss angels, guides, and loved ones from the other side. Welcome back. Let's talk about Earthbound Spirits. What does that mean? So I am guessing that you are pretty familiar with what happens when you first die, with the tunnel, the white light, that piece of it. And you also are at least somewhat familiar with ghosts, or what people call ghosts. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today is what is a ghost anyway? And I would say there's two categories to a ghost. One of them being if you have gone to a haunted house or any place where ghosts are seen, right, is considered haunted. Usually that is actually, I guess the best way to describe it is like an image. It's an imprint. Those, you might see the image and the image does not acknowledge you at all. It's like, doesn't see that you're there. It might even seem to walk right through you. That's really just an energetic imprint of the person or the people that were there. And, I do not pretend to have all the answers for sure. So I don't know why that happens sometimes. Lately, I've been reading some of the holographic theory, holographic principle, and they address it as, just lingering energy. So I don't know. That's theory and principle, and it's interesting. So then the other piece is people that they die. And oftentimes if they die very unexpectedly, a sudden accident or it was just fast, think of it like they're just really hyper-focused, going about their business, and then all of a sudden, very quickly, they're dead. And they just don't realize it. They're out of their body so fast, they don't know that they're dead. And so they hang around. That's one way that somebody might be earthbound. And it can be a little frustrating. They can they just think they're being ignored. Here's an example. I think stories are sometimes the best way to explain something. There was this guy that just showed up at my house, clearly from the 50s, very James Dean with his Levi's and his black loafers and a white T-shirt with the sleeves rolled up and his cigarettes and slicked back hair. He had it going on, and a very thick New York accent. And he was pretty upset, actually. He wanted to know why he was being ignored and was rather belligerent about it. So while he was talking to me, I started seeing his death scene. And again, I don't know why that happens, but it's very common that I don't even know if they realize it. I think they're kind of like stuck in this loop, and it just keeps happening. Not that they're experiencing pain, but it's almost like, hello, look what's happened, and they don't get it. And they also don't seem to understand that time has moved on. So this guy was from the 50s and was oblivious to the fact that this is now 2000 something, and we have technology, and all of this has changed. So I don't understand why they don't see that. But he had been hanging around and was feeling like his friends, family, and so forth was ignoring him and was very agitated. So I was trying to be nice and talk to him, but he really wasn't. He was engaged in arguing. So I finally said, "Hey, dude, stop. I don't even know a nice way to tell you this. So you're dead." And he just kind of looked at me like, what? And I said, yeah, go. He was going to argue about that as well. So I suggest you go into the bathroom and look in the mirror. So he did, and he came back out. Well, obviously he didn't have a body, therefore he had no reflection. Again, why would he never notice that? I guess he's caught in a loop. So he was not like remorseful or angry or sad or anything like that. He just, it almost was like relief. Oh, it explained so much. So when I was seeing his death scene, he was actually drag racing. And it was like in this large, I don't know what it would have been, but large cemented area. And he was racing this guy. Now, to his credit, he was winning or won, something like that, until he slammed into a wall. And that took care of the car and of him. So that's what I saw. And when I mentioned that to him, then he got bragging rights. Yeah, but, I'm winning. I said, well, and how did that work out for you? So once he realized that he was dead, his energy shifted. He was not confrontational. It's like, okay, now what do I do? And so there's that release in these situations. It's just acceptance and release. And so I talked him through crossing over. Now that's something that very gracious spirits on the other side have actually talked to me about. Sometimes they're very open to answering my questions. So I ask them, hey, what's it like? What's happening for the things that I can't see? But crossing over, really, for some reason, when these earthbounds don't realize they're dead, they don't see that light. They don't see the tunnel. And we do have free will, always. On the earth plane, we have free will, and that continues. That's part of your soul's right. So I see, it seems, I don't, again, understand why, but if you direct them to look kind of behind them and up, that's where the light is. So I suggested that he do that, and yes, he saw the light. And I said, okay, so you just start going towards that light. And, you're out of body, so your intention, when you just think, this is where you just think where you want to go, and you go. And as you get closer, angels will start coming to show you. They just start greeting you. It's just pure love, and the closer you get, the more loving it is and the more attractive it is to go. And if you want angels to come before that, just ask. They are more than happy to come anytime, and they can't infringe on your free will. So just invite them, and they're willing to come and take you towards the light. And then you can also stop anytime. You don't have to cross over. He had no hesitation, no qualms whatsoever. So, he saw the light, he took off, he was gone, and it was all good. So that's just one example of earthbounds. There's many, many more. It's fun. It's very fun. So if you're feeling like there's somebody around, or you feel like something's haunted, first of all, just don't be afraid. That's, people often are afraid because we're afraid of the unknown. Oftentimes they're not sure that they're dead, and they're looking for help. And we will talk about more stories. Those are kind of fun. So in future podcasts, we'll talk about that. If you have stories or questions, we would love to hear from you. You can get us at Majona, Majona, at lifeafterliferadio.com. And until then, namaste.